The other person that really did shape some of my early habits was my grandpa. And I think less about him in terms of being diligent with habits. I think more about it in terms of mindset. His big thing was always PMA, positive mental attitude,
Love it.
is what he said. And so much of what I try to teach my kids now, or the outlook that I try to have, is around that. It's going into each day and trying to emphasize the good things that are going to happen, and trying to focus on and emphasize the good things that could happen or that I'm trying to do. There will always be hardships that come up, but I'm trying not to hold on to those too much. I'm kind of wary of anybody whose primary mode of operation is to be like a martyr. I feel like that's a draining type of person to be around. There are always things that are not going to go well, but that doesn't mean those have to be the ones that we live by each day. So I think that part of my mindset came from him. But the three of them definitely played a big role in my approach.
Are your kids starting to adopt habits based on the things you've taught them? I mean, clearly you're teaching them things. You described some of those earlier. Do you notice those things starting to emerge reflexively?
My kids are all still very young, but it's interesting how fast it happens. A couple lessons that I've had so far. The first is you are always teaching them. You are teaching before you even think you're teaching. Even before months before they'll say their first word, or you're teaching them how to talk. And so reading, like to my oldest, reading to her from the very start, we read more with her than the next two, just based on time. She had incredible vocabulary very early on. And I think it's because we read to her so much. It was just hours a day. So that's interesting. You're always learning. And I think that applies to adults. It applies to everybody. Another way to phrase it would be every moment has a stimulus. And that stimulus is always shaping you. So mentally, it's shaping you in terms of what you're receiving or to the inputs that you're taking in. Physically, there's also a stimulus. I got dinner with this guy one time who's like a movement specialist, and he spent the whole dinner sitting cross-legged in the chair in like perfect upright posture. And my takeaway after that dinner, I was talking to him about it because it's such a strange way to have dinner with somebody, is he was basically like, everything is a stimulus. And so I'm right now, you are not in the gym, but you are training your body how to sit and how to, what your posture looks like and how to respond to that stimulus. So he tries to live his whole day like that. It's almost like one ongoing workout session. I don't know that I could actually live that way, but I do think that it's a very interesting idea, and it makes sense. All the things that your body's experiencing impact you, both physically and mentally. So that's one takeaway. And then the second takeaway for my kids and how habits are kind of, I'm learning in my personal life too, is so much of it is about putting them in good positions. And that is something that we all can learn from. If the conditions are right, then the habits form easily. And I think that in a lot of ways, one of the more important questions to ask is, am I creating the conditions for success? So I'll give you an example that I applied to my personal life. I've had a good exercise habit, a good workout and training program for the last 20 years or so. All the way through having our first kid, I did a really good job. I actually was in very good shape when our second was born. And then I had a year that was just tough. It was just, we had, little babies, and it got harder. And then we decided to have a third, and I could just see that this was, my time is getting compressed. Atomic Habits is like runaway freight train. I'm trying to keep a hold of that. There's a lot of demands on time. And so I hired a trainer to start right around when our third was born. And the interesting thing about that is that I don't miss workouts anymore. I don't necessarily, the workouts are good. Like it's not anything about quality or anything like that, but I don't miss. And it's just because he's showing up. Everybody in the house respects it. It's like, oh, this has to happen at this time. Somebody else is coming in. And so what I'm getting at is, on the surface, it looks like, oh, you're having a problem with working out. Let's try to diagnose, how can we fix the workout problem? That really wasn't the problem. The problem wasn't me doing the workout. The problem was I needed to create the conditions for a workout to happen. And so I needed to create the conditions for success. And by doing that, suddenly everything else fell into place. And I think if you took that idea seriously and tried to apply it to whatever was important in your life,